YouTubers? In honor of Justice League arriving on digital HD, I decided to go over my top 10 personal favorite Superman moments. Now, this will include moments from the live action films starring Christopher Reeve, Brandon Routh, and Henry Cavill. When Justice League arrived in theaters, I did a top 10 Batman moments, and I decided to give the Man of Steel that treatment as well. Starting at number 10, I love the junkyard fight in Superman 3. Say what you will about that film, it's a bit more campy than the first two, but that fight is fantastic, with Clark Kent versus the evil Superman, who basically got a dose of red kryptonite, synthetic kryptonite. He must stop himself from being evil, and it's such an amazing fight scene. Not only seeing two Supermen, but Christopher Reeve play a bad Superman. That part where he's just like, I can give as good as I can get. Oh yeah? Well come on, show me. And he's just like yelling at Clark Kent. I love that moment. Such a great fight and one of the more memorable sequences with Christopher Reeve's Superman. Above that at number 9 is the Batman-Superman fight in BVS Dawn of Justice. I love this fight. As a Batman fan, it's nice seeing The Dark Knight Returns come to life. Very different circumstances, but still the visual style and look of it is totally from Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns. I love how Superman's trying to stop Batman from fighting him. He says that Lex Luthor is behind everything. Batman is not listening. The only way they can get through is a fist, and it shows you Superman having to fight this man here, while also having a bit of restraint because he knows he can take him down. Batman proves to be more of a formidable foe with kryptonite, and it is a really well done fight scene. Superman gets a beating here, but you know, he can give as good as he gets, and it's just a really awesome fight scene. I mean, what more can you ask for? Batman and Superman. It's nice seeing them work together, but it's totally something else when you see them fight. After that, I have two moments tied, and that is the BVS montage of Gods Among Us, metahuman beings, and that montage of Superman saving people, averting different catastrophes, and basically human nature try to define who and what Superman is and what does it mean in their world. They've been looking for a Messiah complex figure, but what happens when he actually exists? Do humans feel overpowered that there is this being who is this powerful among them? And it's such a unique aspect of the character to look at. I mean, this sequence right here is pretty much what would happen if a real-life Superman came to our world. How would we react if a guy like Superman existed on Earth? And this sequence really conveys that very, very well. Another sequence is after the Capitol bombing. We have Lois Lane and Superman talk. And she says that this symbol means hope. And he's like, it did on my world. I don't have any world. He hasn't really declared Earth his home, so it really shows you the inner turmoil of this character. He has no place. There's no Krypton, and he feels like he has no place on Earth, so he's really an outsider of both worlds. And it's so unique seeing that on the character, and also no matter how much good he does, people will always blame him for stuff. There'll always be bad stuff people hold him accountable for, and he can't save everyone. And that is such a unique aspect that I love about the character of Superman that BVS explores greatly. After that would be Justice League with the Superman Steppenwolf fight. He believes in truth and justice, and I love it. For the first time in a long time, we see Superman as this powerful being. He is literally unstoppable, and he makes a joke at a Steppenwolf, which wasn't really very hard, but it's so great seeing the Man of Steel just be heroic and just be that, a Superman. I love it. It's definitely among one of my favorite moments of Justice League and one of my favorite Superman moments. After that would be the Superman Returns Lois and Superman interview, where she says the world doesn't need a Superman, and they fly up. I love this scene. It's homage to the Christopher Reeve movies, but also I love when Brandon Routh says, you say the world doesn't need a Superman, but every day I hear people crying out for one. Such a fantastic, well-done scene, and one of my favorite Superman moments. It shows you how much he hears in the world, how much that's out of his control, and how much he wants to change, how much he wants to save the world. And I love that. It really is a bearing on the character, but it's done in a way where it's not dark and brooding. He's still the heroic Superman, lighter, but he's optimistic, full of hope. He's that beacon of light, that scion of justice, that not only looks after Metropolis, but planet Earth. And I love that. I just love that scene. And also, it means a lot between the relationship of Clark/Superman/Lois. It shows you their strained relationship Since he left for 5 years, Lois, Superman, and Clark, it's not the same as it was, but it's not exactly the way it's presented to be, you know? It's not exactly a world that doesn't need a Superman. It does. And he conveys that to Lois in this scene. After that would be a wonderful moment between Lois and Clark in Superman the movie where they fly. It's the first interview with Superman, and together they both are in the sky. Such a lovely sequence, and that is just an American movie classic. That is one of the most iconic moments in cinema history. I love that flying sequence. Such a romantic, uplifting tale, and you really do believe these two are out in the middle of the air flying at night. And I just love Margot Kidder and Christopher Reeve's chemistry as Lois and Clark, as Lois and Superman. You don't get many great Clark Lois moments like this, or Lois and Clark moments, and that one is just one of the more beautiful ones. After that would be Superman the movie, where Superman attacks Lex's lair and he has to go through all these traps. It was in the special edition version, but I love that sequence. It shows you how smart and how much precaution Lex Luthor has taken. I also like the conversation they have after that, where he confronts Lex Luthor for the first time. And then he tells him, is that how a warped brain of yours gets kicks? By planning the death of millions of innocent people? And then Gene Hackman's Lex is like, no, by causing the death of millions of innocent people. Such a great scene that sets up perfectly Superman and Lex and the dichotomy between them as hero and arch nemesis. I love it. It's a very well done sequence. After that would be screen test footage and / a deleted scene in Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut, where Lois and Clark are there. In this version, he doesn't fall into a fireplace. She discovers he's Superman by shooting him. She suspects that Clark Kent is Superman, and she shoots him. And there's this moment where he's Clark Kent, he hears a gunshot, he gets up, real stern, takes off the glasses, and he's just like, you realize, if you were wrong, Clark Kent would have been dead. And then she's like, with a blank? And Lois outsmarted Superman with a blank gun. Such a great sequence, not only with the chemistry there, but the reveal that he is Superman, and also how intelligent Lois really is. I have two tied for second place. One is the last fight between Superman and General Zod in Man of Steel. I love the moment where Zod punches him, he's on the ground, he floats upward, and he's just like, you're a monster, Zod, and I'm gonna stop you. And just some of the moments in that fight scene is just fantastic. I mean, it is Superman come to life, which you see in the comics, cartoons. It is on an insane level. Probably the closest to a Dragon Ball Z type of fight we will ever see, but I love that moment and that line towards General Zod. I also like the moment in Superman 2 at the end where he goes back after he gets his abilities back and he goes and confronts the bully at the diner. I just love that moment. It's funny and also a way of Superman getting back. Sure, it's a little bit out of the characteristics, but you're just rooting for him. That trucker was just a jerk and a half, and Clark Kent / Superman really shows you who's boss, and I love that scene. Even paying for the property damage in the diner and him saying, I've been working out. Such a funny sequence of Superman using his abilities outside the cape. After that, I have two for first place. The first being Clark Kent. After he leaves Smallville, he goes to train in the Fortress of Solitude. It's that moment where we first are introduced to Christopher Reeve as Superman. That scene was so iconic. It seems so real. No CG. And that one shot, you know who Superman is, you know what's going on, and everything you need to know about the character is introduced in that one image, and I just love it. That is one of the most iconic Superman scenes and one of the most iconic superhero introductions ever in film. And then above that, my personal favorite moment is when the nuclear bombs go off of Superman the movie. Lois supposedly dies, and you just see him there. He's too late to save Lois, the woman he loves. He's just like, no. And it's like, ah! And then he just like yells, and you're just like, holy shit. He is mad. And that is the most angry I've ever seen Superman, and like a godlike level. I just love that moment. And then him going up, Jor-El's voice being heard saying that it's forbidden to change time and interfere with history. It's forbidden. And you just hear that voice when Jonathan Kent died. He's saying with all those powers, all those abilities, and I couldn't even save him. So Jonathan Kent's death comes to play in the third act and the end of Superman the movie. Of course, it's crazy to do that with Earth's axis and gravity, but he changes back time. Wow, that is just an awesome moment that I have not seen matched in any other incarnations. I would love for a television show or a film to try to recreate that type of energy and just emotion in a scene, especially with Superman. Just see him really ticked off and just fly. Anyway, those are my top 10 favorite moments from the Superman films. There's so many more, but those are just some that I had in the top 10. Some were tied. I left some out, but if there is a scene that I did not mention that you like, feel free to let me know some of your favorites in the comments below. In honor of Justice League on Digital HD. You can also check out my other video on the channel where I have my top 10 personal favorite Batman moments. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. What are some of your favorite Superman moments, favorite Superman actor? Just let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, click the like button and subscribe for more videos. Stand for truth, justice, and the American way.